Taking action every day is the key to making real progress in your life. We all know the feeling of wanting to improve, to reach new goals, but sometimes that drive just isn't enough to push us into action. We've all been there, telling ourselves that we'll start tomorrow, that we'll do it soon, but the truth is, if you don't force yourself to take action today, tomorrow never comes. In this audiobook, I'm going to show you exactly how you can break through that barrier of hesitation and start taking action every day. No more waiting for the perfect moment. No more relying on motivation that comes and goes. We'll talk about the steps you can take to create momentum, even when you don't feel like it. Because here's the truth. Your future depends on what you do right now, today. By the end of this audiobook, you'll have practical strategies to push yourself into action, even when it feels hard, and you'll learn how to turn those small, consistent actions into long-term success. Whether you're trying to build a new habit, achieve a personal goal, or simply be more productive, taking action is the foundation of it all. Let's dive in and get you moving, because action is the key to everything you want to achieve. Chapter 1. Commit to daily action and make progress non-negotiable. The biggest shift in your life happens the moment you decide that taking action every day is not optional. It becomes a way of living, a standard, a code, not something you do when you feel good, not something you do when motivation strikes, not something you do once in a while when life feels exciting or when you're bored. You do it because you made a decision. You do it because this is who you are now. This is the difference between people who keep talking and people who quietly get ahead. One chooses to wait. The other chooses to move. Every single day, daily action changes you. It sharpens your mind. It makes you honest. It humbles you. It shows you where you are weak and where you need to grow. It reveals the truth, and most people avoid the truth because it hurts. But avoiding the truth doesn't make life easier. It just makes your life smaller. The moment you commit to taking action every single day, you face the truth head-on. You build strength where you were once fragile. You take responsibility for how your life unfolds. And even if things don't go perfectly, you're moving forward. You're becoming better. You're building momentum. When you commit to daily action, you're not chasing perfection. You're chasing consistency. You're not waiting for the perfect time, perfect plan, or perfect mood. You wake up and do what needs to be done. That's how real progress happens. Slowly, quietly, repeatedly. Progress is built in moments of effort that no one sees. It's built in those uncomfortable mornings when your mind tells you to quit. It's built when you do the work without applause, without validation, without attention, because your reason is deeper than praise. You're doing it for you. You don't need to wait for confidence to act. Action creates confidence. Confidence is not something you get from wishing or reading quotes. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. It comes from showing up for your goals when it's the last thing you want to do. And it's in those moments, when it's hard and inconvenient and uncomfortable, that your identity is rewritten. Because now you're no longer someone who wishes. You're someone who moves, who takes control, who fights for growth. People often say they want change, but they never act like it. They talk about goals like they're lottery tickets, hoping life will pick them, but no one is coming to save you. No one is going to force you to get serious. That's your job. You have to demand more from yourself. You have to raise your standards so high that mediocrity becomes unacceptable. You have to hold yourself accountable, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. You build character by doing the things you said you would do, long after the feeling has passed. That's where real strength is born. That's where discipline begins. Most people are stuck in cycles because they only act when it's convenient. They get excited, start something new, feel a little resistance, and immediately retreat. That's why they never change. They never push through the wall. But when you commit to daily action, you remove the emotion from the equation. You show up whether you feel like it or not. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you'll feel like quitting. What matters is that you keep showing up. You build trust with yourself by being reliable. Your future is shaped by your daily decisions. You can dream all you want, but dreams don't build themselves. Action does. Movement does. Repetition does. You don't need motivation. You need movement. You don't need hype. You need habit. You don't need permission. You need courage. The people who win in life are not the ones who always feel ready. They're the ones who act anyway. Taking action every day means you don't negotiate with your excuses. It means when your mind tells you it's too cold, too early, too late, too risky, you move anyway. You don't wait for the mood to be right. You create your own momentum. One small step at a time. You stop overthinking. You stop trying to predict every outcome. You stop doubting your ability. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is better than standing still. People waste years waiting for clarity. But clarity comes from doing. Not from sitting. Not from planning endlessly. Not from imagining. You gain direction when you take steps forward and start adjusting based on what you learn. Every day you act. You gather data. You learn about your strengths, your limits, your gaps. You course correct. You improve. But none of that is possible without movement. You will never know how far you can go if you never start. You have to understand that progress is not a feeling. Progress is an action. It's doing the work. It's putting your head down. It's not glamorous. It's not flashy. It's not instant, but it works. And every time you choose to act, you're telling the world and yourself that you are not here to waste your potential. You're not here to let fear make your choices. You're not here to live the same day for the rest of your life. Daily action is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something intentionally. It's about making progress real by making it part of your lifestyle. When you treat progress as optional, you start living passively. You start blaming things. You start making excuses. You start drifting. But when you treat progress like a responsibility, you become powerful. You start leading your life. You start solving problems. You start owning your time. Most people give up, not because they are incapable, but because they have trained themselves to quit when it gets hard. But you can reverse that. You can train yourself to keep going. You can train yourself to finish what you start. You can train yourself to take one more step, even when everything inside you says stop. That's the foundation of discipline, not in grand gestures, but in the daily grind, in the quiet effort, in the decision to keep going, again and again and again. You don't need to be the most talented. You just need to be consistent. Talent might open the door, but discipline keeps it open. You become dangerous when you stop waiting, when you stop hoping, when you stop blaming, and instead you get up and do the work every single day. Your life will not change because you want it to. It will change because you force it to, with action, with energy, with effort. The truth is, the more you act, the easier it becomes to keep acting. You build momentum, and momentum is the most powerful force in self-development. When you commit to action daily, you stop starting over. You stop doubting yourself. You start stacking wins. Even if they're small, they build confidence. They build identity. They build belief. You go from being someone who dreams to someone who does. And that shift changes everything. Every day you have a choice. You can live on default or live on purpose. You can let your feelings control you, or you can lead with action. You can hope or you can execute. One path leads to regret. The other leads to pride. If you want to feel proud of your life, you have to earn that feeling. Through movement, through commitment, through persistence. There's no other way. You don't become strong by avoiding effort. You become strong by walking through effort. You build emotional stamina when you sit in discomfort and choose not to run. You grow when you stop seeking ease and start seeking growth. Daily action forces you to confront your limitations, and the more you confront them, the more you rise above them. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for inspiration. Stop waiting for life to feel perfect. Perfection is a lie. Progress is real, and progress is always waiting on the other side of action. You don't have to take massive steps. Just take a real one, and take another one tomorrow, and then the next day. That's how transformation happens. Quietly, repeatedly, with intention. When you build a routine around daily effort, you make growth your default. You no longer ask, should I work today? You just do. You no longer need to hype yourself up. You just start. You stop relying on motivation. You rely on standards. You rely on self-respect. You rely on the identity of someone who finishes what they start. Someone who takes themselves seriously. Life doesn't reward potential. It rewards action. You can have all the ideas in the world, but if you're not acting on them, they mean nothing. Action brings those ideas to life. You cannot think your way into growth. You must work your way into it. You must struggle through it. You must grind your way into it. That's the truth. That's the cost. If you want to build a powerful life, you must show up when it's not convenient. You must build the kind of discipline that doesn't ask for permission. The kind that gets up even when no one is watching. Because your goals matter more than your comfort. And every time you act on that belief, you build a life you respect. You build strength from the inside out. That's what this is about. This isn't just about doing more. It's about becoming more. Every day you act, you become a little sharper, a little tougher, a little more certain. You start becoming someone who trusts themselves, someone who doesn't need outside motivation because they have inner drive. That kind of confidence isn't loud. It's steady. It's earned. It's real. No one gets stronger by watching. No one builds a legacy by waiting. You are one decision away from changing everything. And that decision is simple. Move. Every day. No matter how small. No matter how uncomfortable. No matter how uncertain. Just move. You owe it to your future. You owe it to your purpose. You owe it to yourself. Start today, and never stop. This is not a quick fix. It's a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of showing up for yourself. If you stay consistent, everything will change. Maybe not overnight, but over time, the results will be undeniable, because you earned them, through effort, through action, through the quiet decision to never stop. Chapter 2. Embrace discomfort to build mental strength and resilience. Real strength is built in the moments when you're uncomfortable, uncertain, and stretched beyond what feels safe. The people who rise in life, the ones who build something real and lasting within themselves, are not the ones who run from discomfort, they're the ones who lean into it. They choose to face what others avoid. They choose to feel the resistance and keep going anyway. That's how mental strength is developed. That's how real resilience is earned. You don't get stronger by avoiding life's challenges. You get stronger by walking through them, head up, heart steady, and mind locked on growth. If you want a better life, you must stop seeking comfort and start seeking challenge. Comfort will keep you trapped. It will keep you soft. It will keep you repeating the same cycles because nothing forces you to grow when everything feels easy. But discomfort wakes you up. It exposes your weaknesses. It challenges your beliefs. It reveals your blind spots, and that's exactly why most people avoid it. Because it forces you to see yourself clearly. But clarity is the foundation of strength. If you want to become unshakable, you must be willing to stand in the fire long enough to be transformed by it. The human mind is capable of remarkable things when it's tested, but it only becomes powerful when it's trained. Just like a muscle, your mind grows stronger through resistance. Every time you push through something difficult instead of backing down, your inner strength expands. Every time you choose growth over ease, you prove to yourself that you are more powerful than your emotions. That's how confidence is built, not from comfort, but from hardship. Not from praise, but from persistence. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you cultivate by doing what most won't. It comes from choosing the harder road when the easy one is right in front of you. It comes from showing up when you're exhausted. From standing tall after failure. From keeping your word to yourself when every part of you wants to break the promise. Most people want strength, but they avoid the very process that creates it. They look for shortcuts. They chase hacks. But there is no hack for grit. There is no shortcut to self-mastery. You earn it through discomfort. There will be days when life hits you hard. Days when everything feels out of control. When the weight on your shoulders feels too heavy. When your plans fall apart and your energy runs low. Those are not the days to retreat. Those are the days to rise. To face the storm without flinching. To remind yourself that pain is part of the path. That pressure creates diamonds. That chaos, when embraced, becomes the very environment that sharpens your spirit. You don't build mental toughness in moments of ease. You build it by staying calm under stress. By staying grounded when everything around you is shaking. You build it by taking responsibility when you could blame others. By acting with discipline when you could justify distraction. You build it by choosing what's right over what's easy. And the more you do that, the more resilience becomes your identity. Not something you try to access, but something you naturally are. Discomfort doesn't mean something is wrong. It means something is working. It means you're stepping outside the limits you've accepted for too long. It means you're entering the territory where growth lives. Most people misunderstand pain. They think it's a signal to stop. But in most cases, it's a signal to pay attention, to learn, to dig deeper, to endure long enough to rise through it. When you start viewing discomfort as a doorway instead of a threat, your entire relationship with pain changes. You stop running from it. You walk through it with purpose. It's easy to coast, to do just enough to get by. To hide behind routines that keep you feeling safe but stagnant. But deep down, you know you were built for more than that. You know that comfort is not where you find fulfillment. You find that in the struggle, in the battle, in the long nights and early mornings where you push your limits because you know that's where your potential lives. The life you want isn't found inside your comfort zone. It's on the other side of it. Mental strength isn't loud. It doesn't need attention. It doesn't come from showing off or proving anything to others. It comes from facing yourself, from doing the hard thing when nobody's watching, from embracing the boring, painful, necessary actions that shape your character. It comes from delayed gratification, from quiet sacrifices, from staying true to your purpose even when the results are slow. The more you train yourself to choose the uncomfortable road, the more you learn to trust your ability to handle anything. When things get hard, your mind will try to talk you out of it. It will tell you to quit, to delay, to escape. But that's the exact moment you need to dig in, to remind yourself why you started, to refuse to be guided by fear or fatigue. Because every time you push through, you're training your mind to be your ally instead of your enemy. You're proving to yourself that pain won't break you, that pressure won't define you, that your spirit is stronger than your circumstances. You become more powerful the more you endure, not because the pain disappears, but because you become larger than it. You start to realize that you're capable of so much more than you once believed, that the limits you thought were real were just stories you'd been told. And the only way to rewrite those stories is to live differently, to act differently, to make decisions from your higher self, not your weaker habits. People often wait for strength to show up before they move. But strength doesn't come first, movement does, action does. The moment you lean into discomfort, you begin to change. You begin to shed the old version of you that needed everything to feel good before taking the next step. And in its place you become someone who can lead their life through storms. Someone who doesn't fear difficulty but welcomes it as fuel for their fire. The truth is you're never going to grow if you keep doing what's easy. Growth is forged through friction, through resistance, through struggle. That's not a punishment. It's a gift, because every hard moment you face is preparing you for something greater. Every time you refuse to quit, you become more, and the more you face, the less life can shake you. You build inner peace through outer chaos. You learn how to stay centered even when everything is falling apart around you. Discomfort teaches you what you're made of. It teaches you patience. It teaches you to stop expecting instant results and start falling in love with the process. The repetition, the invisible progress, the uncelebrated effort. You start to realize that most growth happens when nobody's clapping for you, when no one sees the pain you're carrying. But that's when you're becoming the strongest version of yourself, in silence, in solitude, in discomfort. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is simple. The successful ones are willing to feel uncomfortable longer. They don't run when it hurts. They stay, they fight, they adapt, they grow, not because it's easy, but because they've trained themselves to value growth more than comfort, because they've stopped expecting the path to be painless. They've learned to see the pain as part of the reward. You don't have to enjoy discomfort to embrace it. You just have to respect it. Respect what it's building in you. Understand that every challenge you face is shaping something deeper inside you. Every hard decision you make is sharpening your mind. Every failure is teaching you resilience. Every setback is giving you wisdom. If you can hold on through the struggle, you'll come out of it wiser, tougher, and more focused than ever before. Start with the little things. Take cold showers. Say no to distractions. Wake up earlier than you want to. Stick to your commitments even when you're tired. Choose the uncomfortable conversation instead of silence. Train your body and your mind every day, even when there's no applause. These may seem small, but they are not. They are the foundation. They're how you rewire your brain to choose growth over ease. They're how you train yourself to stop fearing discomfort and start chasing it. You will be tempted to quit. That's guaranteed. But the strongest part of you is not the part that wants to stop. It's the part that keeps going anyway. It's the part that says, I didn't come this far to turn back now. You have to listen to that voice. Feed that voice. Strengthen that voice through your actions. And every time you do, it gets louder. Until one day quitting isn't even an option. Because you've built yourself into someone who finishes. You're not here to play it safe. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to grow, to evolve, to stretch yourself until you become someone you never thought possible. And the only way to become that person is to go through what most people avoid. To face the hard things. To live outside the lines of comfort. To do what's necessary, not what's easy. Every single day. This is not about suffering for the sake of suffering. It's about becoming someone who doesn't fold under pressure. Someone who doesn't need life to be perfect to make progress. Someone who faces reality without flinching. That kind of mindset is rare, but it can be built. And once you have it, no one can take it from you. The more discomfort you embrace, the less control it has over you. It becomes familiar. It becomes manageable. And over time it becomes your edge. While others run from hard things, you run toward them. While others wait for the right moment, you create it. While others shrink under pressure, you rise. You were not made for mediocrity. You were made for greatness. And greatness requires discomfort. Not once, not occasionally, but daily, repeatedly, purposefully. And if you can make that your lifestyle, there is nothing you can't overcome, nothing you can't endure, nothing you can't build. It's already in you. You just have to prove it by doing the hard thing again and again until discomfort no longer scares you, until it becomes your strength. Chapter 3. Set clear goals and create a focused daily routine. If you want your life to change, you have to stop living by accident and start living on purpose. Nothing powerful happens when your days are shaped by randomness. If you wake up without a clear goal, without a clear plan, the world will pull you in every direction but the one that actually matters. You'll get distracted, you'll lose momentum, and you'll find yourself wondering where all your time went. That's the cost of drifting, wasting energy on things that don't matter, while the things that do remain undone. You can't afford to keep living like that. You need direction, you need clarity, you need a routine that anchors your discipline and builds your future one day at a time. Most people underestimate what they can build in a year of consistent focus and overestimate what they can achieve in a few chaotic weeks. They start with excitement, but without structure. They have motivation, but no compass. And so they burn out. They get discouraged. They start doubting themselves, not because they're incapable, but because they've never set themselves up to succeed. A focused daily routine, backed by clear, meaningful goals, will change your life. It will save you from confusion. It will keep you grounded when motivation fades. It will protect you from falling back into the habits that sabotage your progress. Clarity is the most powerful force you can give yourself. When you know exactly what you're working toward, you stop wasting time. You stop entertaining things that pull you off course. Your mind becomes sharper. Your decisions become cleaner. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. And that shift from reaction to creation is where the real transformation begins. You don't need more hours in the day. You need more intentionality in the hours you already have. That's where goals come in. Goals are not just dreams written down. They are decisions. They are promises. They are reminders that your time must serve something bigger than comfort or convenience. The problem is, most people never define what they actually want. They have vague hopes, but no targets, and if you don't have a target, how will you know where to aim? How will you know when you're on track or off? You need goals that are specific, measurable, and driven by purpose. Not goals that sound good, but goals that mean something to you personally. Goals that demand your best. Goals that stretch you, that challenge you to rise above your current limitations. Without that kind of aim, every day becomes a repeat of the last, and your potential goes untapped. But even with clear goals, you still need a structure to reach them. That's where your daily routine becomes your foundation. Your routine isn't just about habits, it's about building a system that guarantees progress, even on the days you don't feel like it. It's about creating a rhythm that keeps you aligned with your mission. The routine you design must reflect the priorities of your future, not the convenience of your present. You have to train yourself to operate from discipline, not mood. Because mood is inconsistent, discipline isn't. Mood is fragile. Discipline is reliable, and the only way to stay consistent is to stop making your actions depend on how you feel. Your routine should not be complicated. It should be simple, powerful, and intentional. Start your day early. Own your morning. Set your mind right before the world starts pulling at your attention. Begin with something that aligns your thoughts with your goals. A few minutes of reflection, journaling, gratitude, or visualization. Then move into action. Do the most important task first, not the easiest. What you do in the first few hours sets the tone for everything else. Don't waste those hours on scrolling, distractions, or things that don't move your life forward. Protect your morning like your future depends on it, because it does. Every day should contain a set of non-negotiable actions that drive your goals forward. Not 10, not 20. Just a few high-impact activities done with full presence and consistency. Your life will not change by doing more. It will change by doing what matters, every single day, no matter what. Track your progress. Hold yourself accountable. Evaluate weekly. Make adjustments, but never excuses. Your routine is not a prison. It's your path to freedom. Because when you master your time, you master your life. And you can't master time if you don't know what each hour is supposed to build. The truth is, success is not built in bursts of effort. It's built in daily commitment. In the quiet, unseen hours where you show up for yourself, again and again, without applause. While others are chasing distractions, you're chasing progress. While others are starting over every Monday, you're building momentum. That's what separates winners from wishers. Winners don't wait for motivation. They create it through disciplined action. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They get to work and make progress anyway. It doesn't matter if your goal is personal, professional, physical, or financial. The process is the same. Clarity first, then consistent execution. You write your goals. You build your routine. Then you live it, day in, day out. And if you stay locked in long enough, your life will begin to change in ways that most people only dream about. You'll start feeling control where you used to feel chaos. You'll feel peace where there was once pressure. And you'll know, deep down, that you are living your life with purpose. The biggest lie is that you need to do everything at once. That you need to have it all figured out before you begin. You don't. You just need to get clear on what matters most. Then build your day around that. Block out time for your priorities. Eliminate distractions. Say no more often. Protect your focus like it's your lifeline, because it is. In a world addicted to noise and speed, focus is your superpower. And your routine is where that focus is either built or broken. Some days will be hard. You'll feel tired, overwhelmed, maybe even discouraged. But that's not the time to retreat. That's the time to return to your routine, to remember your goals, to take the next step, no matter how small. Because progress is not about perfection, it's about persistence. One disciplined day at a time, that's how you break through. That's how you build something that lasts. You don't rise by chance. You rise by choice. And the choices you make each day are shaping your life, whether you see it or not. Are your choices aligned with your goals, or are they feeding your distractions? Are you designing your days with intention, or are you winging it and hoping for the best? These questions matter, because without clarity, you drift. Without routine, you stall, and without discipline, you crumble the moment resistance shows up. Your time is your most valuable asset. Once it's spent, you don't get it back. So every day is a chance to either invest it in your future or waste it on comfort. Don't let another week pass where you're busy but not productive, where you're working hard but not moving forward. Create a structure that eliminates guesswork, a structure that puts your goals on autopilot. That's what a focused daily routine does. It turns your vision into action, your dreams into progress, your potential into results. Everything changes when your actions begin to reflect your priorities. When your calendar mirrors your commitments. When your energy is directed toward what actually matters. That's how you build momentum. That's how you win the day. And when you start winning your days, your life takes a new direction. Slowly, steadily, powerfully. You have to stop waiting for some magical moment when everything feels perfect. That moment will never come. The perfect plan doesn't exist. What exists is today. What exists is your willingness to start now, with what you have, and build from there. The difference between the person you are and the person you want to become is hidden in the way you live your next 24 hours. You don't need a new life. You need a new system, a better structure, a clearer aim, and a refusal to let your days be stolen by things that don't align with your goals. The mind thrives on order. It craves clarity. When you give it a routine, it stops wasting energy on decision fatigue. It stops drifting into laziness. It becomes sharp, purposeful, focused. You start showing up differently, thinking differently, acting differently, and the world begins to respond to that energy, because focused people are rare. Disciplined people are magnetic. People with direction are unstoppable. This isn't about working non-stop. It's about working with precision. You can get more done in a few focused hours than most people do in a scattered week. That's the power of alignment, when your time, energy, and attention are all pointed in the same direction. But you can't access that power if your days are chaotic, if your goals are unclear, if your habits are reactive instead of intentional. So take control. Write your goals down. Break them into actionable steps. Build a routine that supports those steps. Then live it, repeat it, refine it, until your life begins to reflect the discipline you're putting in daily. Don't just hope for a better future. Create one, through the way you structure your day, through the way you protect your time, through the way you align your actions with your vision. Every moment matters. Every decision builds momentum or kills it. The results will never lie. They will always reflect what you truly value. So if you want something different, do something different. Start with clarity. Follow with routine. Live with relentless focus. And watch your life transform from scattered potential into powerful progress, one intentional day at a time. Chapter 4. Overcome procrastination by taking immediate small actions. You are not lazy. You are just delaying your own greatness every time you wait for the right moment to begin. That's what procrastination really is. It's the silent thief of your future. It hides behind thoughts like, "I'll do it later," or "I need more time," or "I'm not ready yet." And while those thoughts sound reasonable, they are actually dangerous. Because every minute you postpone action, you reinforce hesitation. You build the habit of avoidance. And over time, your dreams start collecting dust, not progress. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to take one small step. Right now, the cure for procrastination isn't more thinking. It isn't waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. It's movement. It's doing something, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, even if it feels uncomfortable. Momentum is always born from motion, not intention. You won't think your way into discipline. You have to act your way into it. The smallest action done now beats the perfect plan delayed for days. That's the secret. The breakthrough isn't in doing everything at once. It's in doing something immediately. When you feel stuck, when your mind tries to convince you that you need more time to prepare, that's the moment you need to act the most. The longer you hesitate, the harder it gets. Resistance grows, fear deepens, doubt multiplies. But once you move, once you take that tiny first action, you break the mental pattern, you weaken the grip of procrastination, and you prove to yourself that you're not a slave to your feelings. You're the one in control. The truth is, starting is the hardest part. The task isn't usually the problem. It's the emotional friction before the task that drains you. Your mind creates stories, exaggerates the difficulty, builds false narratives about how exhausting or overwhelming it will be. But as soon as you start, those illusions begin to fade. One small action cuts through the fog. One simple step disrupts the loop of hesitation. Action reveals that most of the fear was in your head. You don't need to tackle the whole mountain. Just take the first step. Open the book. Write the first sentence. Make the call. Send the email. Do one push-up. Whatever the task is, shrink it until it's too easy to say no. Then do it. Because the moment you move, you set a different tone for your day. You send a signal to your brain. We are not waiting anymore. We are doing. That's how new habits are born, not in massive waves of effort, but in tiny moments of execution repeated with purpose. Waiting for motivation is a trap. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never build consistency. You'll stay stuck in cycles of guilt and delay. Motivation is a byproduct of action. You gain energy by moving, not by sitting still. Every time you take a small step, you gain confidence. You feel momentum. You begin to believe again. And that belief is powerful. Because once you believe you can follow through, you're no longer a victim of procrastination. You're a builder of results. Some people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mindset, the perfect plan. And they die with their potential buried under a lifetime of waiting. Don't let that be you. Perfectionism is a lie dressed as preparation. It convinces you that you're being careful, when in reality, you're just afraid. But fear doesn't fade by thinking. It fades by facing. The fastest way to kill procrastination is to do the one thing your mind keeps avoiding. That's how you reclaim your power. You don't need more time. You need more courage in the present moment. Courage to ignore the noise in your head. Courage to push past the urge to delay. Courage to start, not later, but now. That's the only way to break the cycle. You don't need to feel confident. You just need to feel willing to take one single step. Because when you do, the next step gets easier. And suddenly, what felt impossible begins to feel manageable. Don't wait for clarity. Create it through action. Clarity comes from doing, not overthinking. And if you're overwhelmed, simplify. Break the task into micro-actions. Don't worry about finishing. Focus on beginning. Progress is built in layers, not leaps. You don't build a strong life by making huge decisions all at once. You build it by making tiny decisions consistently. 1 hour of focused work every day beats 10 hours of anxiety-driven avoidance every week. What you do today matters. Every time you push something off, you're reinforcing weakness. You're telling your mind that discomfort is a valid excuse. But when you do something hard, when you act even though you don't feel like it, you are training resilience. You're hardening your discipline. You're becoming the kind of person who acts, not waits. And that shift in identity changes everything. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about facing the task in front of you and saying, I'll handle it now, not tomorrow, not later, now. Because once you start living like that, your life begins to shift. You stop drowning in undone tasks. You stop fearing the work. You start respecting your time. And more importantly, you start respecting yourself. The person who keeps promises to themselves becomes unstoppable. Think about how much time you've lost to procrastination. Days blurred by avoidance. Opportunities missed because you didn't act. Energy wasted on anxiety. That doesn't have to be your story anymore. You can reclaim your hours by taking control of your actions. Not by changing everything overnight, but by mastering the present moment. If something takes less than 5 minutes, do it immediately. If it feels big, break it down until it doesn't. And if you don't feel like it, do it anyway. Your feelings are not facts. They are temporary, fleeting. They change like weather, but your actions leave a mark. They build character. They shape identity. Every time you act despite resistance, you are sculpting a stronger version of yourself. One decision, one moment, one action at a time. That's how you break free from the trap of procrastination, by refusing to let hesitation dictate your destiny. There's power in simplicity. Don't complicate your process. Don't obsess over doing it perfectly. Focus on doing it now. Progress is always better than perfection. A small step forward is infinitely better than standing still. Action leads to learning. Learning leads to growth. And growth leads to transformation. But you have to begin. And you have to begin now. You have to start treating procrastination like a threat to your future. Because it is. It robs you quietly. It doesn't show up like a crisis. It creeps in like comfort. It convinces you that later is harmless, that delay won't cost you. But it does. It always does. And once you see the cost clearly, once you understand what's at stake, you'll stop making excuses. You'll start making moves. Discipline is built in moments of resistance, and the moment you don't feel like doing something is the exact moment you need to do it. That's the turning point. That's the muscle you build. The more you act when it's hard, the easier it gets. It's like training your mind to serve you instead of sabotage you. And with every act of discipline, you grow more capable, more focused, more powerful. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting? If you took immediate action every time your mind told you to delay? Imagine the momentum you'd build, the progress you'd make, the freedom you'd feel, that life is possible. It's real, but you have to decide that waiting is no longer an option. That hesitation is no longer welcome. That your future is too important to be sacrificed for temporary comfort. This is your chance to take your power back. To stop being the person who waits and start being the person who moves. You don't need motivation. You need movement. You don't need a massive change. You need consistent action. And it all starts with one decision to act now. Not because you feel like it, not because it's easy, but because your goals deserve it, because your future demands it. Let this be the day you stop giving power to procrastination. Let this be the moment you draw the line. From this point forward, every time your mind says, "Do it later," you respond with action. Immediate, intentional, focused action. That's how you win. That's how you evolve. That's how you finally move forward and stay forward. Not someday, not next week, but now. Because your life is not built in the thoughts you repeat, it's built in the actions you take. And when you commit to acting immediately, no matter how small the step, you are choosing progress over paralysis. You are choosing momentum over delay. You are choosing power over fear. And that decision, repeated every single day, is what will take you further than anything else ever could. Chapter 5. Track your progress and adjust strategies for improvement. Every day you're either getting closer to your vision or drifting further from it, and the only way to truly know is to track your progress with ruthless honesty. Without measurement, there's no awareness. Without awareness, there's no growth. And without growth, life becomes a cycle of repeating the same choices, expecting different outcomes. If you want to improve anything, your discipline, your habits, your results, you must learn to evaluate yourself constantly and adjust without ego. You are not competing against the world. You are competing against your old self. But you can't beat what you don't track. People talk about working hard. People talk about grinding. But very few sit down and analyze if their actions are producing the results they actually want. That's the mistake. You can run full speed in the wrong direction and feel productive while going nowhere. You can stay busy and still be stuck. You can be consistent but still off course. The only way to ensure that you're not wasting your effort is to reflect and track. To look at what you did, what worked, what didn't, and why. That's how you stop running in circles and start moving in the right direction. There is power in clarity. When you track your actions, you bring truth to the surface. Numbers don't lie. Patterns don't lie. Consistency, or the lack of it, reveals everything. You see where you show up and where you fall short. You see what gives you momentum and what slows you down. And once you see it, you have a choice. Either stay blind to the problem or take ownership and fix it. That's where transformation happens. In those moments where you confront the facts instead of running from them. Too many people want results, but they don't want the responsibility of tracking the process. They say they're disciplined, but they can't prove it. They say they're improving, but they have no data to show it. That's not growth. That's guessing. If you're serious about success, you need more than effort. You need feedback, because feedback fuels precision, and precision multiplies progress. Tracking is not about perfection. It's about awareness. You don't track to beat yourself up. You track to understand yourself better. Every slip-up teaches you. Every success reveals what's working. And when you pay attention to those patterns, you gain power over them. You no longer leave your growth to chance. You take control of the process. You learn faster. You adapt smarter. And you eliminate waste. Improvement doesn't happen randomly. It happens intentionally. It happens when you collect information, reflect on it honestly, and use it to guide your next move. If something isn't working, you don't quit. You adjust. If something is working, you double down. You build your system based on truth, not guesswork. And that's how you create real, lasting results. You don't need a fancy system. You don't need complicated tools. A simple notebook, a daily journal, a habit tracker, or even a few bullet points at the end of your day can change everything. What did I do today that moved me forward? What did I avoid? What will I do differently tomorrow? These questions, answered consistently, build awareness that leads to progress. When you stop tracking, you start assuming, and assumption kills growth. You start believing you're improving because you feel like you're working hard. But hard work without direction is just noise. That's why you need to record your steps. Not to be perfect, not to obsess, but to stay honest. Honest with your effort, honest with your focus, honest with your results. Tracking your progress also builds momentum. When you see improvement, no matter how small, you feel empowered. You see proof that change is happening, and that proof gives you the motivation to keep going. Momentum isn't magic. It's manufactured through consistent action and reflection. And the more you track, the more patterns you uncover. Some days will show growth. Others will expose laziness. Both are useful. Both give you leverage. You must be willing to audit your effort, like a business audits its finances. Look at your time like a budget. Where are you spending it? What's the return on that investment? Is it aligned with your goals? Are you putting energy into things that matter, or just reacting to distractions? When you start thinking this way, you stop living by default and start living by design. That's what self-mastery looks like, measured, intentional, and accountable. Adjusting your strategy doesn't mean you failed. It means you're learning. It means you're paying attention. Rigidity is not strength. It's weakness disguised as stubbornness. Smart people pivot. They adapt. They test, track, analyze, and tweak. That's how they evolve. If you're unwilling to change your approach, you're choosing to stay stuck. But when you let go of the ego and trust the process, growth becomes inevitable. The best performers in any field, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, they don't guess. They measure. They review footage. They study metrics. They break down each detail to understand what to improve next. Why would you treat your life with less care? Your future deserves that same level of intentionality. You're not winging it. You're building it. And building requires structure. Reflection is not passive. It's an active process that separates those who move forward from those who stay frustrated. Take time each week to review. Ask yourself, what actions brought me closer to my goal? What setbacks occurred, and why? What new behavior can I try? This kind of thinking puts you in control. You become the architect of your development, not a bystander. There's no shame in adjusting your strategy. In fact, it's a sign of wisdom. You don't rise by repeating what's not working. You rise by learning faster than your excuses. You rise by holding yourself accountable when it's uncomfortable. That's the real test, not how much you can do when things are easy, but how well you adapt when your current method falls short. People fail not because they're incapable, but because they refuse to adjust. They keep using the same plan, hoping for different results. They keep doing what's comfortable instead of what's effective. But the path to excellence is paved with experiments, failures, and course corrections. And the only way to navigate that path is to track what's happening and act on what you find. When you make tracking and adjusting a daily habit, you become immune to stagnation. You stop being confused. You stop wondering why things aren't working. You start identifying the cause, correcting the behavior, and moving forward with clarity. That's the power of awareness. It kills confusion. And where there's clarity, there's confidence. Growth is not a straight line. Some days you'll feel like you're flying. Other days it'll feel like nothing is changing. But if you keep tracking, you'll see the bigger picture. You'll realize that progress isn't about dramatic leaps. It's about steady movement. And even when the growth feels slow, the consistency creates compound returns. Each improvement stacks on the last until the results become undeniable. You don't rise by magic. You rise by data and discipline. You rise by taking responsibility for your habits, your outcomes, your patterns. And that responsibility starts with observation. You must become a student of your own behavior, not once a month, every day, and the more you study yourself, the more precisely you can improve. That's how greatness is built, one adjustment at a time. If you want to become your best, you need to stop guessing and start tracking. You need to stop repeating the same cycles and start making new decisions based on real evidence. You need to stop hoping for better outcomes and start designing them with clarity. That's what it takes. That's what separates the average from the exceptional. Not talent, not luck, but the willingness to track, reflect, and adjust. At the end of the day, you have two options. You can continue living blindly, hoping that things improve on their own, or you can take control. You can hold yourself accountable, analyze your actions, and make strategic changes. You can choose to operate with awareness. You can choose to grow with intention. That choice is yours every single day. So starting today, make the commitment. Track your habits. Reflect on your behavior. Review your progress. Then adjust your strategy until it aligns with your highest potential. Do it without emotion. Do it with discipline. Do it because your future depends on it. And when you do, you'll notice something powerful. Progress becomes predictable. Success becomes systematic. And your path becomes clearer than it's ever been before. Now move. Not just with effort, but with intelligence. Not just with drive, but with direction. And never again allow your days to pass without knowing exactly how far you've come and exactly where you're going next. Chapter 6. Cultivate positive habits that compound daily growth and success. Every single successful person you admire is simply the result of thousands of small positive actions repeated relentlessly when no one was watching. Nothing extraordinary starts out extraordinary. It starts with a habit. A decision repeated so many times that it becomes second nature. That's how success is built. Not overnight, but over time, by doing what matters consistently, especially when it's boring, especially when it's hard, especially when it's easier to quit. You don't rise to the level of your motivation, you rise to the level of your systems, and your systems are made of habits. What you do without thinking, what you default to when life gets chaotic, what you rely on when discipline wears thin. If you want to grow, evolve and win, you need habits that support your future, not habits that pull you back to your past. It doesn't matter how big your dreams are if your daily behavior contradicts them. Real growth is never about what you say you want. It's about what you repeatedly do. Too often, people look for giant breakthroughs. They chase massive change, radical transformation, overnight success. But that approach fails. What works is the opposite. Small wins stacked daily, actions that look insignificant in the moment, but compound massively over time. A few minutes of reading, a short workout, waking up early, journaling before bed. These things may seem small now, but done consistently, they transform who you are. Think of your habits like drops of water. One drop seems meaningless, but over weeks, months and years, those drops fill the bucket of your life. You don't become disciplined by making one good choice. You become disciplined by making good choices your default setting. That means creating a lifestyle where your routines serve your goals. A life where success doesn't feel forced, it feels automatic. You have to decide who you want to become, and then build habits that align with that identity. If you want to be focused, create habits that limit distractions. If you want to be healthy, design habits around nutrition, sleep and movement. If you want to grow, build habits that include learning, reflection, and action. Every habit you form is a vote for the person you are becoming. And the more votes you cast in the right direction, the harder it becomes to fail. The key isn't intensity, the key is consistency. Anyone can work hard for a day, anyone can crush a goal once, but success comes from what you do repeatedly. That's where real power is built, not from a single act of willpower, but from a habit that carries you when willpower fades, because willpower is unreliable. It fades, but habits last. Habits don't ask how you feel, they just execute. So how do you cultivate habits that stick? Start small. Start with actions so easy, they're impossible to skip. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for consistent. If you want to start meditating, begin with 2 minutes. If you want to read more, commit to 1 page a day. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to create momentum, because momentum is what fuels belief, and belief is what fuels behavior. Once you see yourself winning, even in small ways, you start acting like a winner in bigger ways. Create an environment that makes good habits easy and bad habits hard. Set up your surroundings so they support the person you're trying to become. Put your workout clothes where you can see them. Delete apps that waste your time. Keep healthy food visible. Remove triggers that lead to distraction. Success doesn't always come from self-control. It comes from self-management. It comes from designing your life to make the right choices the default option. Track your habits. Measure your consistency. Even a simple habit tracker can create accountability. When you see progress visually, it reinforces your effort. And when you miss a day, don't let it become 2. Missing once is a mistake. Missing twice is a new habit, forming in the wrong direction. If you slip, reset quickly. Get back on track. Because resilience is also a habit, and how you respond to failure determines your long-term trajectory more than the failure itself. Be patient. Don't expect instant results. The same way a seed takes time to grow into a tree, your habits take time to create impact. But if you stick with it, if you trust the process, one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. You won't even recognize the person you used to be. You'll realize that the greatest transformations come from invisible, incremental progress that no one else noticed, but you never stopped believing in. Protect your routines. Your habits are sacred. They are the blueprint for your future. Don't let distractions hijack them. Don't let other people's chaos disrupt them. Wake up earlier if you have to. Say no more often. Make time. Guard your energy. And above all, remember you are always training your future. Every action is a signal to your brain about who you are. Choose wisely. The most powerful habits you build will never be dramatic. They'll be subtle. They'll be the ones that sharpen your mind, stabilize your emotions, keep you grounded, and direct your energy. They'll be the ones that teach you to focus when the world is noisy, to stay calm when stress rises, to act when doubt creeps in. These habits create character, and character creates destiny. Habits are how you build trust with yourself. Every time you follow through, you prove to your mind that your word means something, that trust is everything. Without it, you'll doubt your ability to commit. With it, you become unstoppable. Because now, when you say you'll do something, you know you will. Not because it's easy, but because you've trained yourself to follow through. That's where confidence is born. Not from hype, but from evidence. Don't build habits based on motivation. Build them based on standards. Motivation comes and goes. Standards stay. Set your standard high. Then show up, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's when it counts. That's when growth happens. The days you don't want to show up but do anyway. That's where your next level is created. You must also be willing to eliminate habits that hold you back. Growth isn't just about adding new behaviors. It's about subtracting the ones that drain your energy. Procrastination, overthinking, emotional reactivity, self-doubt, these are habits too. And if you don't intentionally replace them with better ones, they will control you by default. Break those patterns before they become your identity. Surround yourself with others who respect habits, people who are consistent, people who live with discipline, because your environment influences your behavior. If you spend time around people who are casual with their lives, you'll be tempted to lower your standards. But when you spend time with people who take ownership, who track their routines, who grow with intention, you rise naturally. Their energy rubs off. Their consistency reminds you what's possible. Make your habits so automatic that success becomes inevitable. Build rituals into your day that align with who you want to be. Morning routines, evening reflections, focus hours, breaks that restore you. None of these things need to be perfect. They just need to be consistent. Over time they will shape the way you think, act and feel, and that will shape the results you get. Your time is limited. Every day you delay building better habits is a day your future suffers. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait to feel ready. Start now. Start messy. Start unsure. Just start. The sooner you take ownership, the sooner you start compounding growth. Because that's what good habits do. They multiply. Each day they get stronger. Each action reinforces the last. And before long, you're no longer fighting for progress. You're being pulled by momentum. Discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And habits are how you exercise it daily. You don't need to rely on motivation if your habits are strong. You don't need to wait for inspiration if your routines are clear. Success becomes predictable when your actions are aligned with your values. So look at your life right now. Look at your routines. Look at your patterns. Are they leading you where you want to go? If not, change them. Don't wait. You are not stuck. You are just operating from habits that no longer serve you. Replace them. Upgrade them. Commit to them. That's how you reinvent yourself, not through force but through structure. This is your invitation to rise, not in a single moment, but daily, quietly, steadily, through habits that compound, through effort that doesn't seek praise, through consistency that doesn't need applause. That's how greatness is built, not loudly, but persistently. And that's how your best self is created. One powerful habit at a time. Chapter 7. Push past fear and doubts to take bold action. Every life-changing move begins with one thing, the decision to do it scared. Not when you're ready, not when the fear is gone, not when it feels easy. Right now, in the middle of the fear, with your heart racing and your doubts screaming. Bold action doesn't come when the fear disappears. It comes when you learn to act anyway, despite the voices in your head telling you to wait, to hesitate, to hold back. Fear is loud, but it's not the truth. Doubt is persuasive, but it's not your destiny. You are not supposed to stay stuck in the same place forever. You are meant to rise, to move, to act, to try. But if you wait for the perfect moment, you'll never take the leap. If you wait for certainty, you'll stay behind. Every great breakthrough begins with someone saying, "I don't feel ready, but I'm doing it anyway." You'll never grow by playing it safe. You'll never find your strength hiding behind hesitation. You've got to break the pattern. You've got to move when your mind says stop. You've got to push through the mental fog that tells you to settle. Fear will always try to talk you out of doing something new, something hard, something bold. That's its job. But your job is to go anyway. Doubt whispers stories about your past to convince you that your future is limited. It replays every failure, every mistake, every time you fell short. But here's what doubt doesn't know. You're not who you were. You've grown. You've learned. And you're not obligated to carry your old identity into your new future. You can evolve. You can take action that contradicts the fear. And once you do, everything begins to shift. The greatest breakthroughs are often hiding just beyond the wall of fear. But most people stop at the wall. They analyze it. They stare at it. They make excuses. They wait for someone to open the door. But the ones who win, they climb it. They punch through it. They leap over it. They take the risk. They act while afraid. And that's how they discover what's possible on the other side. You don't need to eliminate fear. You need to learn how to carry it with you without letting it drive. Let fear ride in the back seat, but never let it hold the steering wheel. When you act despite fear, you take its power away. It shrinks in response to motion. It can't control you unless you stay still. So move, even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, even if the outcome is uncertain. Progress begins the moment you refuse to let fear lead. Stop waiting to feel confident. Confidence isn't a prerequisite, it's a result. It comes after action, not before. It's built by doing the thing you thought you couldn't do, and every time you act boldly, you gather proof. Proof that you're stronger than you thought. Proof that you can survive discomfort. Proof that your fear was a liar. That proof becomes your power. It builds the kind of confidence no one can give you, and no one can take away. Action is the only antidote to fear, not thinking, not analyzing, not journaling, not preparing action. Start small if you have to, but start. Because boldness is built like a muscle. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. What once terrified you starts to feel normal. What once looked impossible starts to feel within reach. But that only happens through motion. You've got to stop negotiating with fear. Every time you hesitate, you give it more control. Every time you overthink, you strengthen its grip. There comes a point where you must override the fear with decision. You must decide that your growth matters more than your comfort, that your future matters more than your doubt, that your dreams matter more than your excuses. Fear isn't proof that something is wrong. Often it's proof that something important is in front of you, that there's something worth chasing, something that matters. The presence of fear doesn't mean stop. It means pay attention. It means rise up. It means take the leap and learn to fly on the way down. No one achieves greatness without stepping into discomfort. Every bold move will feel risky at first. Every act of courage will test you. But that's how you grow, not by avoiding risk, but by learning to function inside of it. Growth lives in the tension between where you are and where you want to be. You'll never stretch without discomfort. You'll never lead without courage. You'll never win if you keep playing defense with your life. It's easy to talk about dreams. It's easy to write down goals, but bold action is what turns those dreams into reality. It's what separates the talkers from the doers. You've got to be the kind of person who moves forward, even with shaky legs, the kind who acts when others are still thinking, the kind who tries, who fails, who learns, who tries again. That's the path. That's the formula, not perfect execution, but fearless pursuit. There's a version of you on the other side of bold action that you haven't even met yet. A stronger version, a wiser version, a braver version, but you'll never meet that version by staying stuck in the same cycles. You've got to do something different. You've got to take a step that scares you. Because that step, that's the bridge to your next level. Stop assuming you need more time. Stop assuming you need more knowledge. Stop assuming you need permission. You have enough to begin. You have enough to take the next step. And if you keep waiting for certainty, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Clarity comes through action. Direction comes from movement. You figure it out as you go, not before you begin. You're not fragile. You're not weak. You're not broken. You are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. But you'll never tap into that potential if you keep shrinking when fear shows up. You've got to lean into the fire. You've got to face it head on. And when you do, you'll realize fear was never the real threat. Inaction was. Life rewards those who take bold steps without needing all the answers. The ones who move before they feel ready. The ones who try and figure it out along the way. Those are the ones who rise. Those are the ones who build something real. Because inaction is the fastest way to regret. And action is the fastest way to freedom. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be brave. Fearless is a myth. Brave is real. Brave says, I'm afraid, and I'm still doing it. Brave says, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm showing up. That's the mindset that changes lives. That's the mindset that moves mountains. That's the mindset that creates breakthroughs. Every moment you hesitate is a moment you teach your brain that fear wins. Every moment you act despite fear is a moment you rewire your mind for courage. This is how you change at the core, not through motivation, but through defiance. You decide that fear will not run your life anymore. You reclaim your power. You reclaim your future. Fear will never fully disappear, and that's okay. Let it exist. Let it chatter in the background. But never let it stop you. Let your actions speak louder than your insecurities. Let your steps speak louder than your doubts. Let your boldness drown out your hesitation. You were not made to stay small. You were not made to live behind walls of fear and indecision. You were made to rise, to move, to create, to impact. And none of that happens without action. None of that happens while you're waiting for the fear to vanish. You have to act first. Then the confidence comes. Then the clarity builds. Then the growth compounds. Every bold step you take creates momentum. And momentum is what makes future action easier. It's what pulls you out of ruts. It's what builds self-belief. So stop overthinking. Stop analyzing every angle. Stop trying to make it perfect. Just go. Just do. Just start. Because your greatest potential is waiting on the other side of that action. You owe it to yourself to try. You owe it to your future to take the leap. Don't let fear rob you of the life you could have lived. Don't let doubt steal your dreams in silence. This is your time. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. This is your moment to push past everything holding you back. To rise above the noise. To do what most won't. Take the first step. Then the next. And then keep moving. Because once you prove to yourself that you can act through fear, nothing will ever feel impossible again. That's how you change your life. That's how you rewrite your story. Not by thinking. Not by waiting. By doing. Boldly. Relentlessly. Now. Chapter 8. Find purpose in every task to fuel your drive. Purpose is the fuel that powers your drive, the spark that ignites your passion, the force that pushes you to keep moving even when everything else feels like it's slowing you down. Without purpose, everything you do becomes a chore, a task to get through, a box to check. But when you find purpose in every task, no matter how big or small, you transform your work into something meaningful. You give yourself a reason to rise, to take action, to perform at your highest level, even when the task doesn't immediately excite you. Imagine waking up every morning, not with a sense of dread or a feeling of obligation, but with the knowledge that everything you do today contributes to something greater than yourself. Imagine moving through your day with a clear sense of why each task matters, no matter how seemingly insignificant. Purpose isn't reserved for grand achievements or life-changing moments. It's embedded in every single action, every decision, and every step you take. You don't need to wait for a big breakthrough to feel fulfilled. You can find purpose in the process, the journey of becoming. When you infuse purpose into every task, it's like putting on a pair of glasses that allow you to see the deeper meaning in everything around you. You start to see how each thing you do is a step toward the bigger picture of your life. That small, seemingly mundane task at work. It's part of the foundation you're building for your future. That workout you dread. It's the commitment to your health that will pay off for years to come. That conversation with a colleague or friend. It's an opportunity to grow your relationships and learn something new. Purpose is what transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It takes the things you have to do and gives them significance. You stop going through the motions and start doing with intention. You stop feeling like a passive participant in your own life and start taking control. And when you take control, when you begin to see the purpose in everything, you activate a level of energy and motivation that will carry you through anything. The challenge is that many of us aren't taught how to find purpose in everything. We're conditioned to think that purpose is only for the big moments, the promotions, the achievements, the milestones. But the reality is that purpose is woven into every moment, every task. Every day is a chance to live purposefully. It's not about finding purpose in only the things you enjoy, it's about finding it in everything, because when you do, you elevate your life. You shift from merely existing to living with intention. You stop being a spectator and become an active participant in your own success. When you approach each task with purpose, you engage a different part of your mind. Instead of focusing on the difficulty or the inconvenience of the task, you focus on the bigger picture. You remind yourself why it matters, how it's contributing to your goals, your growth, your development. When you make this a habit, it shifts your entire mindset. Tasks no longer feel like obligations, they feel like opportunities, opportunities to learn, to improve, to build. This is how you stay motivated even when the work is hard. You remind yourself that the task is part of a greater journey. The work itself becomes the reward. A crucial part of finding purpose in every task is aligning the task with your core values. If you know what truly matters to you, whether it's personal growth, contribution, or building a legacy, it becomes easier to see how everything you do serves that greater purpose. For example, let's say one of your core values is personal development. Whether you're reading a book, practicing a new skill, or having a difficult conversation, you can find purpose in each of these tasks because they all contribute to your growth as a person. No task is too small to be aligned with your purpose when you see it through the lens of your values. Purpose is also about the impact you have on others. You're not just working for yourself, you're contributing to a greater good. Whether you realize it or not, the way you show up, the way you engage in every task, affects the people around you. When you put purpose into everything you do, you elevate not just your own life, but the lives of those you interact with. Your energy, your attitude, your mindset become contagious. People notice when you're driven by purpose, and they're inspired to find their own purpose in their work. Your dedication to excellence becomes a ripple effect, spreading positivity and inspiration to everyone you touch. Sometimes the challenge of finding purpose in every task is that it requires a mindset shift. Many people approach work as a means to an end. They're simply doing it to pay the bills or get by. But when you shift your perspective, everything changes. Work is no longer just a job, it becomes a vehicle for your personal development. Every task is a chance to refine your skills, hone your abilities, and become the best version of yourself. Every challenge is an opportunity to rise to the occasion and prove to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. A big part of this is also recognizing that every task is temporary. Whether you're stuck in a difficult project or feeling overwhelmed by your to-do list, remember that nothing lasts forever. Each task, each day, is just a moment in time. When you remind yourself of this, you can push through even the most challenging moments with purpose. You can see the end goal clearly and know that the temporary discomfort you're experiencing is just part of the process. You don't have to love every task, but you can choose to approach every task with purpose. Purpose also fuels resilience. It's easy to give up or lose motivation when things get tough, but when you know why you're doing something, you can keep going even when the road gets rough. Purpose helps you push through the obstacles. It keeps you going when you feel like throwing in the towel. When you've anchored yourself in your purpose, you find the strength to keep moving forward, no matter how hard it gets. It reminds you that what you're doing matters, that the effort you're putting in is worth it. Sometimes you won't find immediate results from the tasks you're doing, but that doesn't mean they're without purpose. Often the benefits are cumulative. You might not see the impact of a small action today, but over time, those small actions add up. Consistency is a big part of finding purpose in everything you do. Each action compounds, each task completed with purpose builds momentum, and over time, that momentum leads to success. It's the small things that make the biggest difference in the long run. And it's in those small things that you find the true value of purpose. If you want to tap into a deeper drive, you have to start by identifying what truly excites you about what you're doing. Even if you don't feel like it right now, ask yourself how this task contributes to your larger vision. Ask yourself how it serves your bigger goals. If you can connect the dots between your daily actions and your greater mission, you'll begin to see everything in a new light. Suddenly, every task becomes an opportunity to advance toward your vision, even if it's just one small step at a time. To truly cultivate this mindset, you need to make purpose a part of your routine. You need to find a way to remind yourself of why each task matters. You can do this by setting intentional goals, writing down your purpose, and revisiting it regularly. When you start each day with clarity about why you're doing what you're doing, it becomes much easier to stay focused and motivated. Your actions align with your purpose, and that alignment fuels your progress. The more you integrate purpose into your daily life, the more you'll notice that your energy and drive increase. You'll feel a sense of fulfillment and momentum that propels you forward, even when the work feels tough. By embracing the idea that purpose exists in everything, you create a life where every action has meaning. No more mindlessly checking off tasks. No more passing through your day in autopilot mode. You step into every task with intention, with focus, with passion, and the result. You start to build a life that feels aligned, that feels fulfilling, and that drives you to keep going even when challenges arise. Because you know that every task is part of your greater mission, and with that mindset, nothing can stop you. Chapter 9. Prioritize your well-being to sustain energy and motivation. Your well-being is the most powerful asset you have. Without it, everything else becomes meaningless. When your physical, mental, and emotional health are not prioritized, no matter how hard you work, how much ambition you have, or how many goals you set, they will eventually falter. The reason is simple. Energy is the foundation of motivation, and your well-being directly influences your energy levels. If you neglect to care for your mind and body, you are essentially building a house on unstable ground. We've all experienced burnout at one point or another, those moments where the demands of life, the pressure to succeed, and the constant hustle leave you drained and uninspired. It's easy to believe that pushing through, working harder, and sacrificing more will eventually lead to success. But the truth is, without taking care of your well-being, you'll find yourself running on empty. The first step to sustaining your energy and motivation is acknowledging that your well-being is not something you can neglect. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Think of it this way: if your body is the vehicle that gets you to your destination, then your mind is the fuel. Without proper fuel, the vehicle will eventually break down. Similarly, without nurturing your mind and body, you'll find your motivation running dry and your energy depleted. The most successful people in the world understand this, which is why they prioritize self-care and well-being as much as they prioritize their work and achievements. So, how do you prioritize your well-being? It begins with a mindset shift. All being dowd. For being dowd. Most people view self-care as something they'll get to when they have time, something they'll indulge in once they've earned it by being productive. But this mentality is exactly what keeps us trapped in a cycle of burnout. Self-care isn't a reward, it's a requirement. Without it, your productivity and motivation will always be fleeting. Start with your body. Physical health is the cornerstone of your overall well-being. If your body is fatigued, sick, or malnourished, it's incredibly difficult to summon the energy required to focus and perform at your highest level. Regular exercise is essential, not only because it keeps your body in good shape, but also because it's a powerful tool for managing stress, improving mood, and enhancing mental clarity. It doesn't matter whether it's a rigorous workout at the gym or a calming walk through nature. What matters is consistency. Prioritize movement every day. Exercise not only improves your health, but it also boosts endorphins, the chemicals that make you feel good and drive you to keep moving forward. Nutrition is just as important as exercise. The food you eat directly impacts your energy levels, mental clarity, and mood. Eating a balanced diet, rich in nutrients, helps fuel your body, giving you the strength to take on challenges and stay motivated. Avoid the temptation to rely on sugar and caffeine for a quick boost. They may give you temporary energy, but they also lead to crashes, leaving you feeling worse than before. Instead, focus on foods that nourish your body in the long term. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, these are the real sources of sustainable energy. When you prioritize healthy eating, your mind will work more effectively, and your motivation will naturally follow. Sleep is another pillar of well-being that can't be ignored. We live in a world where sleepless nights are often celebrated as a badge of honor. People wear their exhaustion like a trophy, convincing themselves that sacrificing sleep is part of the process of success. But the reality is that sleep is essential for cognitive function, emotional regulation, and overall health. A lack of sleep severely impairs your ability to think clearly, solve problems, and make decisions, all of which are crucial for staying motivated and productive. Prioritize getting enough rest each night. Aim for 7-9 hours of quality sleep to allow your body and mind to recharge fully. When you're well rested, your energy will be abundant, and your motivation will flow naturally. Mental and emotional well-being are equally important. If you're constantly stressed, overwhelmed, or anxious, it's impossible to maintain the energy needed to stay motivated and achieve your goals. Stress can take a massive toll on your physical health, weakening your immune system and draining your vitality. Managing stress is essential for sustaining your energy. Techniques like meditation, mindfulness, and deep breathing exercises can help reduce stress and bring clarity to your mind. They give you the space to relax, recharge, and reset. Just a few minutes each day can significantly improve your emotional well-being, helping you stay grounded and focused, even when life gets chaotic. Equally important is the mental clarity needed to stay on track with your goals. When your mind is cluttered, it's hard to maintain a clear sense of direction. One of the most effective ways to improve your mental well-being is through regular reflection. Spend time each day or week reviewing your progress, reassessing your goals, and checking in with yourself. This helps you stay connected to your purpose and ensure that you're taking action toward your desired outcomes. It also allows you to clear away any mental clutter that might be hindering your motivation. The people you surround yourself with also play a significant role in your well-being. Negative energy, toxic relationships, and constant drama drain your emotional resources and undermine your motivation. Surround yourself with people who inspire, support, and challenge you. Choose relationships that uplift you, encourage your growth, and provide a sense of community. The power of positive, supportive connections cannot be overstated. A strong network of people who believe in you can help you stay focused and motivated during challenging times. They can remind you of your strength and encourage you to keep pushing forward. To sustain motivation and energy, you must also create a healthy work-life balance. It's easy to fall into the trap of overworking, thinking that if you just keep grinding, success will eventually come. But working non-stop without taking time to rest and recharge only leads to exhaustion and burnout. Balance doesn't mean splitting your time evenly between work and personal life. It means giving yourself permission to disconnect from work and enjoy the other aspects of life. Take time for hobbies, for relationships, for rest. These moments of relaxation are just as important for your productivity as the work you put in. They give you the space to reset, to gain new perspectives, and to come back to your tasks with renewed energy. Another crucial aspect of prioritizing your well-being is being mindful of your mental self-talk. Your thoughts have a direct impact on your energy and motivation. If you constantly criticize yourself, focus on your shortcomings, or dwell on failures, you will drain your energy and diminish your motivation. Instead, practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Recognize your progress and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Cultivate an internal dialogue that encourages you to keep going, even when things get tough. Your thoughts are powerful. Choose ones that fuel your drive rather than sabotage it. Above all, remember that well-being is a holistic approach. It's not just about the physical body, the mind, or the emotions. It's about integrating all aspects of your being into a balanced, sustainable lifestyle. By taking care of yourself in every way, you ensure that you have the energy to stay motivated, to keep pushing forward, and to achieve the success you desire. When you prioritize your well-being, you're not just investing in your health, you're investing in your future. You're setting yourself up for sustained growth, lasting motivation, and long-term success. Chapter 10. Reflect on daily wins and use them for momentum. Every day is a new opportunity to make progress, to achieve something, no matter how small it may seem. It's not about the magnitude of the victory, it's about recognizing each win and using it as fuel for tomorrow. The truth is, success doesn't come in a single burst of brilliance. It's built, piece by piece, moment by moment, through the accumulation of daily wins. If you can learn to reflect on these small successes, you can harness their power to keep moving forward, building momentum toward bigger accomplishments. The key to sustained success is in the small victories, the little things you achieve every day. Too often, we get caught up in the pursuit of massive goals and overlook the importance of daily progress. We become so fixated on the long-term outcome that we forget to acknowledge what we've already achieved. But here's the thing, if you don't stop to celebrate the small wins along the way, you'll never build the momentum you need to continue pushing forward. You'll lose sight of how far you've come, and before long, the distance between where you are and where you want to be will feel insurmountable. Reflecting on your daily wins isn't about pride or self-congratulation. It's about acknowledging your effort, recognizing your progress, and using that momentum to propel yourself toward the next goal. Each small win is like a step forward on a long path, and every step counts. When you take the time to reflect, you reinforce the habit of progress, and you make it easier to keep going when things get tough. In the rush to achieve big things, it's easy to forget that success is a journey. It's a process, not a destination. And in that process, the little victories matter just as much as the large ones. You need to develop the habit of recognizing these small wins, because without this recognition, you'll miss the very fuel that keeps you moving forward. So, how do you do this? Start by creating a habit of daily reflection. Each evening, take a moment to look back on your day and identify the wins, no matter how small they may seem. Maybe you accomplished a task you've been avoiding, or perhaps you made progress toward a bigger goal. Perhaps you simply stayed committed to your routine. Whatever it is, no win is too insignificant to count. The more you focus on these wins, the more you'll start to see them, because they're always there, just waiting to be acknowledged. Next, think about why these wins matter. Reflecting on the why behind your actions helps you connect the dots between your efforts and the results they're producing. If you've completed a task, ask yourself what that task moves you closer to. If you stuck to your routine, consider how that consistency will compound over time. When you see the bigger picture, you'll recognize that every small win is part of something much larger. When you take the time to reflect, you build a sense of accomplishment that fuels motivation. It's easy to get discouraged if you're only focused on the end result, but when you break your journey into smaller milestones and acknowledge each one, you create a sense of progress. This gives you the energy and drive to keep going, even when the road ahead seems long. Every win you reflect on strengthens your belief that you can achieve your goals and helps you stay focused on the next step. Reflecting on your wins also strengthens your resilience. Life isn't always smooth sailing. There will be times when things don't go as planned, when you face setbacks or failures. In these moments, it can be difficult to stay motivated. But when you've developed the habit of reflecting on your daily wins, you already have a reservoir of positive experiences to draw from. You can look back at your progress and remind yourself that you've overcome challenges before and you're capable of doing it again. Reflection reinforces the belief that you can handle whatever comes your way because you've proven to yourself time and time again that you have the ability to make progress, even in difficult circumstances. It's also important to recognize that reflection doesn't just help you appreciate what you've done, it also helps you identify areas for improvement. When you take time to review your day, you can spot what worked well and what didn't. You can evaluate whether your strategies are effective and adjust your approach if necessary. This constant process of reflection and adjustment allows you to fine-tune your efforts, making it easier to achieve your goals and build momentum. Every day is an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve, and reflection is the tool that allows you to do that. As you continue to reflect on your wins, you'll notice that the more you do it, the more wins you'll start to recognize. When you focus on success, you naturally start to attract more of it. This doesn't mean you'll stop facing challenges or setbacks. It just means that you'll be more aware of your progress, and you'll feel more motivated to keep pushing forward. The momentum you build through daily reflection becomes its own self-sustaining cycle. Another powerful aspect of reflecting on your daily wins is that it helps you stay present. When you're caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to forget to celebrate the moment. But when you take time to reflect, you allow yourself to slow down, acknowledge your accomplishments, and appreciate what you've done. This helps you avoid burnout, because you're giving yourself permission to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. When you take a moment to celebrate your wins, you affirm to yourself that the work you're doing matters, and you're moving closer to your goals every single day. Remember that momentum doesn't happen all at once. It's built over time, piece by piece. Each small win is like adding a brick to a foundation. Eventually those bricks stack up, and you have something solid to stand on. When you look back on your progress over weeks, months, or years, you'll see just how much you've accomplished. The key to that success is recognizing and appreciating the wins along the way. Without reflection, that progress would go unnoticed. But when you take the time to celebrate your daily victories, you build a sense of momentum that carries you forward, even in the face of challenges. Ultimately, reflecting on your daily wins isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about acknowledging that even on the hardest days you've done something to move forward. It's about recognizing that the small actions you take every day are the building blocks of long-term success. So, make reflection a habit. Take the time every day to look back, appreciate what you've accomplished, and use those wins to fuel your drive for tomorrow. When you do, you'll find that your momentum grows, your motivation intensifies, and your success becomes inevitable.